All right, we are live. This is the Linger Longer immediately following Forgetting is Not Forgiving. That's Godless Sermon 9. The link is in the StreamYard. The link to the StreamYard is in the comments for those people who wander in. We already have one friend of ours, a man who's going to show us his face for once, and this is Kendall.
What's up,
Hey,
Joe?
Kendall.
I'm so excited. Love you, man. Great sermon. I got chills, man. That was so beautiful.
Thank you, man. I appreciate that. I worked hard on that sermon, so I'm glad.
Yeah. Well, I'm a written guy. If you want to send me over the transcript, I love reading stuff.
Okay. Yeah, sure. I'm thinking I might go ahead and start publishing those. I might start publishing the text of sermons as blog posts. So, yeah.
Oh, cool. Yeah.
Yeah,
Lisa.
Lisa.
You don't have to send it to me special if that's okay.
Cool. Lisa over in the comments. Lisa, yes, I did post the streamer, but not the Linger Longer. Sorry about that. I'm still trying to figure out how I can even do that. It's an interesting thing. It's like you can share like you can post in StreamYard. You can post your upcoming live stream, and I think you can post another live stream also, like schedule another one, but I've never tried it yet. I've been too scared. I'm not sure. I think I have to do it in like different studios, which I have 2 studios. So that may be a thing that we do in the future. But hey, you know what? We're still figuring things out. So yeah. This is water. I drink all my coffee finishing the new hymn this morning. I was gonna have a lot. It was gonna be a lot more complex with stuff. Oh, by the way, Kendall, were you the one who was asking me about if this is if the song was created with which AI? Was it you or someone else?
Soma? Yeah, that was me.
Yeah, Soma. That's right. No, this is actually Suno.
How do you say it?
Suno, Suno. Yeah. And
S-U-N-L.
yeah, I actually have been posting this week. I've been posting videos under the courses tab at corohor.org. And it's there's this new page for courses called AI and I. And basically, I'm showing how I use AI services, especially Leonardo.ai, Kling AI, which I'm probably going to switch to Runway soon. Runway is doing some amazing things, and Suno to make hymns, and then how I use that with Adobe's products, with Photoshop, Premiere, and After Effects to create, and the AI features in those products to create digital products. Hopefully, it becomes a way that people can generate more income for themselves and their families. That's why it's consistent with the mission of the church to transform painful lives into lives worth living. We have major economic problems right now, and so I'm trying to do my best to help people to be able to use these tools to create more income for themselves. So that's what I'm hoping.
Yeah, that is a boat I fall into. I build computers for a living and repair them, but the computer industry is not doing super great at the moment. So yeah, I'm trying to get more on YouTube and do more podcasting and digital products. I've sold several courses online on my website, but I just need to put more time into it. And AI, if it can save me time, would help a lot.
Yeah, that's interesting. I didn't know that. What do you think about this new developments with DeepSeek and the changes that are coming out with that?
Well, it seems like it could go one of 2 ways. If it's even like 50% of what it claims, I think it's definitely a disruptor. But like many of China's things, like their claims are wide, but if you lift under the hood, like they're kind of half baked. So I'm
Right.
The jury's out on which one it is, but it's definitely something to keep an eye on. I'm watching stories, but I haven't really come to a conclusion yet.
Yeah, that's fair. Yeah, I mean, like it's surprising to me. It's like most of the AI tools I use are based out of Hong Kong or Singapore, and which is most AI tools, anyways. But like some of the ones, like the video-based ones that can turn clips into video, or take AI-generated images and turn them into video really well. Like the best ones are all coming out of the East. Well, I should say, come out of the Pacific Rim. So it's an interesting time. Things that, but they say that it's an interesting time for cryptocurrency, especially. That's another thing I've been keeping my eye on for a while. Do you do much with that, Kendall?
So it's one of my biggest regrets. So like when I started my computer business, that's when like a bunch of people were like interested in Bitcoin, and like I would sell them computers, and now they're all freaking rich, and I didn't do a thing with it.
Right, right. Well, I don't know anybody who got rich, but I hear about it all the time. But it's interesting because like it appeared at the beginning of the year with some major events that crypto was going to have a moment, and then all of a sudden it's having a bit of there's all this uncertainty based upon certain policies, and we don't have to talk about what those are because we don't have to talk politics. But it's interesting to see how, just as out of China, AI out of the Pacific Rim area at large, much larger than just mainland China, there's all of this new technology for AI and for better harnessing what do you call it? Better harnessing hardware, right? Which is what this DeepSeek thing, it seems to me, is really a game changer about, is that you can accomplish much more calculation, which with much less hardware. Meanwhile, here in America,
anything that can be run locally and have the same capabilities would be a huge advantage.
right, right. Now, a lot of it is based off of open source. So I'm off of open source technology from what it looks like. So, I mean, they claim that like it was all made on less than $6 million worth of research and development. But it's like, yeah, except that you're also piggybacking off of all the research and development done by OpenAI and all those guys, right? So it's like,
yeah, well, is pretty pissed right now.
Yeah, I bet he is. I mean, but at the same time, that's what open source means, right? I mean, that's always been the thing.
That's what he did. Yeah, you can't argue that point.
Yeah. I mean, you got to imagine at some point, back in the day, Elon Musk, and I'm not going to make any negative comments or positive. I'm just saying historical facts here. Elon Musk was very proud to make everything that Tesla was doing open source. And it was like, oh yeah, that all seemed, very generous and wise at the time. But then how long is it going to be before people he doesn't like are using that same technology, are using the technology developed by Tesla, which frankly, how much tech is actually developed by Tesla, and how much of it do they just take from either the previous owners at Tesla or from other open source technology? So I don't know. That's a good question.
Yeah, it's really a thorny issue. I myself have mixed feelings about open source. Like I was a big proponent of how Android did open source at the beginning, but then quickly, once they became a dominant force in the mobile industry, quickly changed their policies and doesn't like people using their source code. But it's too late now. But they still try to control manufacturers and people they don't like with other means like Google Play services and stuff.
Right. And the interesting thing, Americans, I think most Americans want to see, because of course the biggest AI chip maker in the world, the biggest chip maker in the world right now is NVIDIA, right? And they're a Chinese-owned company, and so of course that's caused a bit of a panic amongst certain individuals. One of them is an old partner of Elon Musk's, a man by the name of Peter Thiel. Of course, most of you here probably know exactly who I'm talking about. But this last fall, he announced that they were going to that Palantir was getting into that his company that is a contractor with defense contractors with the defense and law enforcement, not only in America but with countries all over the world. Um, that the company was not only going to get into the manufacturing of AI targeted hardware, but also that they were going to use artificial intelligence at the heart of Palantir's services, their service system. And so now, which of course has people saying, wow, everybody panicked when China announced that started calling their social, what do they call it? Their social credit score. They started calling the program that tracks it Skynet as a joke.
Oh no, I didn't know that.
Yeah, they call it Skynet, and it's like, oh, that's a big joke. And they think it's funny. Like when they've been asked by journalists, you know what Skynet is, right? And they're like, yeah, it's from Terminator. And they're like, you're just leaning into that. They're like, yeah, but it's like, but now, strangely enough, Peter Thiel probably has actually built the real Skynet, but of course he won't call it that. But it's really it's terrifying. Well, one has to laugh to keep from crying.
Yeah, that's seriously the point I'm at. I really appreciate your political adjacent posts on Facebook. Like, I really think like half the world has gone crazy, and that's most of my social space is the people who just like do not see it. They do not have eyes to see, and when I'm talking to them, they make me feel like I'm the crazy one.
My posts on Facebook for everybody watching in the future are my own opinions. I do try to avoid endorsements and things, but I do get a little more candid on my personal Facebook page. But I do post on there. I do have listed that I'm First Herald of the Church of Korihor for my job, which, by the way, people have been asking me this lately and asking me if I do this full time. And boy, don't I freaking wish. I would love to be First Herald of the Church of Korihor full time. This is the coolest thing I think I've ever done. But no, I'm a video producer by trade. Those people who don't know, and I also do part time. I do a little bit of freelance, uncertified, uncertificated paralegal work. So yeah, between that, so basically I have 3 jobs. So yeah, but yeah, I've been working on these new videos. This is the first song for this series, Heroes of the Resistance. But my plan is to make it more of like a music video type of arrangement, and using AI video, because AI video has kind of become my forte. I've spent the last year learning how to do AI video, and done some pretty cool things with it.
Nice. I'll need your expertise because for my YouTube channel, I need to create a graphic. It's like I want it to be like, spin the wheel and it stops on a thing. I want a wheel spinning and all the things on the wheel are level of life-changing amazingness. So I have to figure out how to do a basic graphic like that. And I can't do my first video on my Learned Empowerment channel until I do that, because everything I want to talk about are beliefs that are superior to my old beliefs from my religion of my childhood. So I'm trying, because I figured out those didn't work. Those were, pretty manipulative and bloviation. And so now my lifelong search is to have things that actually, in reality, work to make lives better. So very similar to your goals. It's one of the many reasons I'm attracted to what you're doing.
That's cool, man. Is this like a part of your business, or is this just like a personal project, or what's the
I want to fold it into my online courses about communication and time management and life effectiveness, which I have sold courses and I have several books on Amazon about. So it's part of a greater purpose, but I don't expect it to make money at first. It's going to be a longer tail project.
Cool. Well, I mean, it sounds like it coincides with the creed and values of Korohorism. So I'll just put it out there. If you're interested in it becoming a mission of reason for the Church of Korohor, so that it's officially a nonprofit, a nonprofit organization, you let me know, and I'll talk to you about
Yeah,
setting
yeah.
this up with it.
When I watched the stream about how you can be sponsored and stuff, I was like, that sounds really appealing. I do need to have a sidebar about like the legal implications of that versus maybe going it independently and what that would do. But on first blush, that sounds amazing, honestly.
Cool. Oh, game show, Lisa. I'm like, she said. Lisa says, "What is that game show you posted?" Yeah, so I watch. There's a. I love this guy, Sam Reich, who's actually the son of Robert Reich, who the former labor secretary and progressive guy.
Yeah, I
I
follow
didn't
him on
know.
YouTube.
Yeah, he's great. Robert is really great. His son Sam, he ran College Humor for a long time. He ran the program for College Humor, and he after College Humor, I'm not sure what their official relationship with College Humor, because I think they sold College Humor to like Comedy Central or something. I don't remember what the deal was, but he started this thing called Dropout TV, and on there he has a game show, and it's all improv comedy. And one of the things that they have is with all featuring people who used to be like writers and comedians, actors, comedians who were previously employed at Dropout and or at College Humor. And so so basically they moved over to Dropout, and one of their shows is called Game Changer. They've changed the name to something else now, but basically they get these comedians to come in, feed them prompts, and then they just have to act out the prompt. Like, and so I posted on Facebook. One of the ones is one of the guys is a major Dungeons and Dragons guy, so he gets lots of prompts that are Dungeons and Dragons based things and fantasy based stuff. And he's one of my favorites. I'm trying to remember his name, and I'm blanking on it right now. But anyways, but one was a general contractor's quote for getting the sword out of the stone. And I had to post it on Facebook for Nathan Hinckley of the Bishop's Interview and tag it in it, because I just recently found out he builds houses for a living. I thought he did video. I thought he did wedding videos full time, but and I had complimented. I'm like, dude, I respect anybody who can pay a mortgage on that. I started in that business in the '90s, and let me tell you, it was hard then. It's gotten a lot harder now. And I didn't know he built houses too until I was with him on Culture's show this week. And so it was like, oh, okay. So I had to quit targeting because he starts out, he's like looking through and he's like, yeah, that's in there. I'm like, oh my God, it's perfect. It was really good. So yeah, some of the other ones that they do, let's see. Oh, he has this woman, Lisa. He's like, oh, a podcaster, no, a YouTube influencer is slowly losing a lot of blood, and she takes off on it, and it's like hilarious. It's like that. I'm sending people Dropout TV videos like all day long. My partners, my friends, to posting on YouTube. It's great. I did make a great thumbnail for that. So one of the things I was wondering if people were interested in this at all. I'm gonna show you guys something here. I'm gonna go to Korohor.org. Let me see if I can present this. Hey, Kendall, Oh, Kendall dropped out. I was gonna say, hey, just wait in the foyer. I'm gonna share screen here. Hopefully this doesn't the audio doesn't cause problems. Sometimes that happens when I share audio from my screen. If people go over to, you'll see here in the hopefully in the screen that I am logged in, and it has like everything here. So that's how you know you're logged in. If you're logged in as a contributor for $2 a month, you can open up this menu. It also works on phones and devices. And under courses, there's this page for AI and I. those who are interested in how I do things using artificial intelligence, I've started posting videos in here as of this week on how I do pretty much everything. One of the things that Beth Magnetic, those of you who don't know, I've alluded to this, maybe outright said this a few times, uh, that the that Beth Magnetic of Mormon True Crime and I are merging our channels. It's the current plan into the new Hellfire Agency, which, by the way, Hellfire.agency is still up. All the episodes are still posted there, but I made membership at Hellfire.agency free so that people can go and watch the full length episodes of Hellfire Agency. I'm not focusing on building a profit out of that at all. Right now, people who want to support the agency can buy merch there to support the agency, which is now we're in the process of transitioning that into a mission of reason for the Church of Korihor. So anyways, but she and I have been talking about the possibility of publishing suspense novels based on the stories that people tell about women who claimed that they escaped Ted Bundy in Utah. And I thought, boy, it could be really fun to use artificial intelligence to help us do this. And then I said the exception would be the audiobook version. I would just read it because I've been getting a lot of people saying that they wish that they could buy audiobooks with my voice. This voice is my father's voice. You are absolutely welcome to enjoy it in any way that you like. And so I've been saying, if we're going to do that, we should do it as a way of demonstrating how people can use AI tools to enhance their economy, to improve their family economy. So I made this video. It's an hour-long video about how I generated this book cover, both as a like a Kindle book / paperback book cover, and then how I then took Photoshop and made an audiobook cover as well. So if you write books, there you go. That's something you could really use, because a lot of people just use like Amazon's basic tools and they're garbage. Anyways, so then I did this other tutorial on how I made this cool thumbnail tutorial. It's another thing people mentioned, that they like my thumbnail tutorials, or like my thumbnails for our YouTube videos. I showed how I made this one with me and Kai Van Leuven of Jesus for Mormons. That's about an hour and a half. I'm about to post one right now, as soon as we're done here. That is going to be a tutorial on how I made First Book and Last. It's like 2.5 hours long, because I've been getting a lot of people saying that they love the hymns of the Church of Korihor and are curious how I use Suno to make those songs. And so I thought, well, I'll go ahead and just show people. Basically, though, let me just go ahead, actually, while we're here, since we're lingering, present. Share screen. Suno. Again, hopefully this doesn't make the live crap out. So yeah, I've also created. Didn't I make another one? Oh yeah. I haven't posted this one yet. Okay, I made another video, but that one I posted already to YouTube. I've made another video that I posted to YouTube about how I put my face into AI generated art, how I like take a selfie. And I made this selfie for a video I still haven't done, probably won't do, about responding to Alex O'Connor talking about Mormonism and how much respect he has for Mormonism, which is not at all what he's saying, by the way. Alex O'Connor is, problematic, frankly, to us atheists. But anyways, but I made this video of me and the mob and the rest of the mob storming Carthage jail to get Joseph Smith, and and it's pretty epic, the picture. But yeah, but I showed, basically recorded myself live, without any edits. I don't think I took any pauses in it at all, and just showed, okay, here's me taking an AI generated image and then photoshopping and then taking a picture and then photoshopping my face into this picture and how I did it. Yeah, wait till they find out. I mean, I'll give Alex O'Connor this. He is playing it up. He's getting the Mormons to promote for him, and I respect it. I respect it, Alex. That much I respect. But really, what he's talking about, let's not even get into it. Anyways, I'll show you something interesting. Okay, if I can, come on, Joe. There we go. You see how many versions of First Book and Last there are in my library. This is just, these are just versions of this hymn that I did last Friday, on Friday, yeah. So like here's a and this isn't even showing nearly all of them. So like basically I'll hit generate until I get something really good. So here's some different versions. I eventually created a persona, and in the tutorial I show how you do that, called Rocking Klezmer, to basically take this sound and make this songs. Hidden away. So this is that's the sound. Before I found that sound, these are some examples of what it sounded like. Hidden away, a young girl writes treasured thoughts by candlelight. Hidden away, a young girl writes. So these generations are from when I decided to innovate my prompt and use classic rock to try and come up with something, try to shake the AI, tickle it, and make it create something totally new. And so it's interesting. So it was a painful process actually creating First Book and Last. Sometimes it goes like super easy, and the AI does it right from the beginning, and I don't even change it. As I've talked about before, probably our most popular hymn is "Lick My Cupcake." One of the easiest hymns that I ever made. I just took the AI generated one and just threw it up there and put, "Lick My Cupcake" by the Church of Korihor. When it says by the Church of Korihor in there, that means that the AI basically generated it and I didn't do anything with it. So I'm going to bring Kendall back up because he's back in this stage. Oh, hold on. So yeah, so people who are interested in how I use AI tools for everything from creating art to creating the songs, to creating anything else that I do, including I'm going to do a tutorial on how to use pseudo-write, even though I've only played around with it. But I'm going to use pseudo-write, which is an AI tool for writing novels. And I'm going to show how we're going to write the first novels of this series, Surviving Ted. Frankly, I have a lot going on. I don't have time to write novels, but I wish I did. But I want to kind of demonstrate how a person could do this to basically create a first draft for a novel. This is the ethical side of this. I don't want to promote using AI to simply do all your work for you and generate a bunch of crap nobody's going to like, frankly. But to generate a first draft of a novel would save a lot of people a lot of time. So that's my plan, is we're going to create a first draft using pseudo-write, and I'm going to document the experience, because some amazing tools, some amazing services have become available through this software called pseudo-write. It costs about $40 a month. I've been paying for it for about a year, and not released a single thing from it yet, just playing around with it. And so yeah, this will be my first time actually creating a digital product with it, and I think people will get a lot of use out of it. So all of that will be on Corahor.org and the AI and I page. So there you go.
Right, I'll look forward to that. Sorry I had to duck out. I'll have to duck out again in about 10 minutes. I'm just doing some errands here.
Hey, not a problem. We've been going now for about 30 minutes. I might have to bail, go feed these kids here, but I've been having fun with this. This Linger Longer system has been pretty good. It's been a good way for us to keep the godless sermons a little shorter, make it so that they're a little more encapsulated for people to enjoy later. So yeah,
Yeah,
I mean, we
I
go
saw
figuring
Colts
it out.
in the chat. I was hoping he'd do Linger Longer, but I guess he had something.
Yeah. Well, Coach and I, we've just talked about. I'm just going to go ahead and say it. We've talked about his coming on Church for Atheists here. We've been talking about it for a while, and it's looking like we might actually do it. So that'll be good. I mean, I think that Coach is one of my favorite. Has one of my favorite channels to go on. I was.
His videos are genius. I literally have a few of them on repeat, like his Smash Mouth parody of Brigham Young.
Yeah, I like his. I like his some of his stuff about like oh gosh, which one was I thinking of? It just flew out of my brain. Coach comes up with the best stuff though. Oh yeah, like the Feliz Navidad duplicate or what am I talking? What am I thinking of? I think my Adderall's wearing off. Anyways, but I thought it was fun.
Yeah, he's
Yeah, it
real
is.
creative. I love what he did
You
with Jacob Hansen and Alex O'Connor. That was hilarious.
Yeah. So I'll reveal this much about Alex O'Connor. I have emailed with a fairly prominent atheist, member of the atheist community, recently about Alex O'Connor and others, and particularly about Ayaan Hirsi Ali and this new trend in atheism of claiming to be so-called cultural Christians. And I told,
I've been in tune with that. I don't know what to make of it, to be honest.
yeah, I am furious about it, frankly. I'm like, here's the thing. It's one thing to say, oh, well, we're just like you, and try to use it as a way of bridge building. But on the other side, it starts to smack of appropriation. And that I'm not cool with, making fun of religion, I can be down with. I am down with. I've done it a lot. And I think it's actually necessary. In fact, it's important. But to claim it and say, oh, yeah, well, we're basically Buddhist. I'm basically a Buddhist, or I'm basically a Christian, etc. While some people in these movements, like these Mormons, like Jacob Hansen, much respect, although disagreement, and he knows that. They're claiming, oh yeah, they're these atheists. They're just like us. They want to be like us. That's okay for now, but just wait until they figure out that some of these atheists are basically claiming you can get everything you want out of these religions by just taking it, and just stealing it and calling it your own and saying, yeah, I'm basically the same thing. And this prominent atheist that I've been emailing about it said, I'm so glad to hear somebody else besides me say it. Somebody has to come out and say it because it's wrong. I think it's wrong. And frankly, I think it makes atheism look stupid. So I don't like it. I'm not a fan.
Yeah, I honestly don't like it either. It's very confusing. I don't even know really the logic of it. It's like they're trying to have their cake and eat it too without taking a position, which I actually sympathize with the latter. I've only deconstructed, this is my second year, so I haven't quite landed on quite a few positions as far as like, oh, I have a strong belief or disbelief in spirituality, or I don't even know the label that I would give myself. Am I an nihilist? Am I a pragmatist? Am I agnostic atheist? Am I an atheist? Like, I don't know.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, this idea that like, oh, I don't believe in God, but I have all the benefits of Christianity. I mean, I view that as just like, I don't know, like they want to be accepted by the greater community, which I actually also understand. You know, being in a majority red state that's very religious, like
Yeah.
you know, you do what you have to do to fit in, I guess. But I don't know. I don't know. All of that
You know,
just
it's
seems very wishy-washy to me.
for me, it's very much similar to the whole Michael Shermer, right wing, even to some extent, at the end of his life, Christopher Hitchens, right wing bridge building of the atheists. When people were saying, when atheists were coming out to say, we're all being branded like we're a bunch of socialists, which, by the way, Christopher Hitchens was a communist for a time there, and but when he was young. But in his older age, he tacked quite far to the right, supported George Bush, et cetera. And so it's like, I'm not endorsing or unendorsing, but the atheist community has been engaged in outreach to the right wing conservative social and political agenda for a while, which is fine. I'm not saying it's wrong, or I'm not opposing it. And I think that some bridge building is right. And atheism really is not a political agenda anyway. So what difference does it make? But it's like atheism not only has a big tent, but it has such a big tent as to be completely disorganized, which is why
Right.
it always startles me when people say that it's just another religion. It's like, if it's a religion, it's the worst religion in the world, because there's no leadership that's consistent. There's no messaging that's consistent. There's no creed. And there really aren't any values to atheism. But, the things that people say are atheistic values and then describe, I say those by themselves deserve to become one movement. And there's been an attempt to make that with new atheism, quote unquote, which was not named by us, was named by other people. When atheists have named movements, we've come up with like atheism 3.0 or atheism plus, which is a thing that people have been talking about. And or I think atheism 3 is the new thing, to replace new atheism. And frankly, trying to rally all atheists under one banner, it's BS. I don't think it's worth it. And frankly, because there are so many divergent opinions among atheists, there's no reason to put us all under one tent. And at the same time, there's no reason for us to go out and try and make atheists of other people. I mean, frankly, they're going to figure it out, or they're not going to figure it out on their own. So that's why I've been telling people lately, it's like, I joke that I'm a missionary for atheism, but I'm really not. I really don't care. I'm not out here to convince everybody that there's no God. I'm here to get as many atheists and agnostics as I can.
Yeah, it reminds me of what Steven Pinker said. His definition of rationality depends on your goal. Like, you can't say what is rational until you have a stated goal, and everything depends on that. But anyway, I got to go again, but always a pleasure. See ya.
Likewise. Good. Thanks for dropping in, Kindle. So yeah, that was kind of fun. Yeah. Having your cupcake and looking at two, Coach says. It's like, but here's the thing. It's like, Jacob Hansen mentioned on our Church for Atheists episode that he thought that that the values of Korohorism were kind of political. And I do think that the values reflect a lot of the same beliefs and ideals of political movement out there, but none of them are strictly about policy. All of them are about or about candidates, or organizing for candidates or parties. And frankly, I don't think any party out there embodies the values of Korohorism. I'm not in America nor anywhere else that I know of, and I'd be happy and surprised to find that that's not the case. And yet there are a lot of Republicans and Democrats both in America who believe in these values. It's one of the surprising things about, for me, since I started into this, is how many women, particularly in the conservative movement here in America, believe in feminism and feel like they can't talk about it. And it's like, it's like, wow, there's an opportunity there to take it out of, take this conversation out of the political sphere and say, let's not talk about it as policy. Let's not talk about laws being passed or parties or candidates. Take this completely out as a value and start talking about women need to be in rooms where decisions are being made. It's not a political point. That's a value, saying that women's rights and the fight for that started out as equality. But now to talk about women's rights and talk about feminism is to talk about honoring femininity as an important value in society, so important that it shouldn't be constrained to just people who are cisgender female, because there of course is now a movement within, to make feminist ideals and women's rights weaponized against trans women. And it's like, okay, there's a reason why there has to be a defining moment in feminism as more than a political movement, as far outside of a political movement, to talk about it as this is a value in honoring women as women and not as cisgender women, etc. And so it's like, when they try to drive a wedge, when there's a concerted effort to try and drive a wedge, a political wedge between people in a progressive movement, it's time to start pulling back and saying, maybe we need to be having this conversation outside of a conversation about policy. Start having this conversation in a realm where we talk about morality, where we talk about what is right and what is wrong. And so I think that that's a fine line to navigate, but this is the moment. This is the time. If we're not having that conversation, then we're letting other people have that conversation. I'm going to close with this, and we'll be seeing you guys on Wednesday for Wednesday service. Again, Wednesday service happens at 7 p.m. Utah time. It's live right here at the same channel. And I'm going to mention a couple of things here, a couple pieces of news. One is that tomorrow at 1 p.m., unless it gets canceled, I am currently slated to speak to a man by the name of Dr. Anton Troyer. And Dr. Troyer is an Ojibwe man who I have been in contact with. I've talked about this a few times. I've been in contact with, talking about appropriation by Mormons of Ojibwe culture in the Heartlander movement, Rod Meldrum and Chief Midiga, the Nemenha band, and so forth. And I'm not really sure how that conversation is going to go, because I don't know how. I've tried to prepare for it, but there's so much. It's drinking from a fire hose when it comes to this kind of stuff. So I'm planning to release that immediately if it goes well. If it doesn't go well, then forget I said anything, because I don't know how this is going to go. Basically, this man is a man who he has my respect in a way that few people do. And I greatly admired his work. I've greatly admired his books. He wrote a book called Everything You Wanted to Know About Indians and Were Too Afraid to Ask. And he talks about everything from powwow culture, where powwow actually came from, which I didn't realize. He talks about the Ojibwe maturation rites of of passage about like what the difference is between when girls come of age versus boys who come of age. So interesting. We are so the objective. Thank you, Coach, is to talk about Chief Mitiga. One of the things that Dr. Troyer talks about are so-called pretendians, which I had no idea. You can check him out. Check out his YouTube channel. He talks about this. He has short videos, including some awesome shorts, YouTube shorts, where he teaches you how to speak Ojibwe, and which is cool. He actually is a professor of Ojibwe language at Bemidji State University. There in upstate Michigan, near where he grew up. Uh, it, his story is so fascinating. I mean, just really interesting. He talks in his book about how when he was young, you get the audiobook version of Everything You Wanted to Know About Indians, but Were Too Afraid to Ask. Amazing. You will not regret it. Very, very good audiobook available on Audible. And he talks about when he grew up, his father is a Holocaust survivor. He's a Jew, an Austrian Jew. And his mother was Ojibwe. And growing up in Michigan, his mother was also an attorney. And they decided to bring up the kids, him and his siblings, in Ojibwe culture. And in the Ojibwe, is it Minnesota? It might be Minnesota. I thought it was Michigan. It might have been. But anyways, thank you, Lisa. Maybe that's true. But anyways, he talks about growing up in this culture. They would never, they didn't cut his hair, which is tradition in Ojibwe culture. And when he was in school, so he would grow up in a cabin mainly that didn't have running water while they were in the Midwest. And then he would, when, the rest of the year, he would go to school with they would move to Washington, D.C., where his mother worked in the government, I believe. And so while he was at school in Washington, D.C., one of the experiences that he had was that his teacher had him put on a dress and dress as a girl and put like blush and rouge on him to dress him up like a girl. And okay, cool. Well, I was wrong about the Michigan thing. Minnesota, cool. And he talks about that after that he went to his mother and he asked her if he could cut his hair because it'd become problematic. And she didn't give him any trouble, said sure. They went and he got his first haircut. And so it was like trying to survive as a biracial person. I really related to as a person who is white on my father's side and Mexican American on my mother's side, growing up in white culture. And then the shaming that I got, growing up, not severe, frankly, nothing like what he went through, but how difficult it was actually trying to understand what my identity was as either Latinx or as white, and but in a very Mormon culture, growing up Mormon. So it was like, it was interesting, the parallels. But then he winds up going to school at Princeton, and at Princeton, his being Ojibwe, his being indigenous, suddenly became a point of interest among his friends. And he started to see how inside the movement, inside the America's intelligentsia and academia, there are people who are advocating for Native people and rights and economic development for natives in America, both on reservations and outside of the reservation, and trying to transform things for the various nations that exist that should be, that are described as if they are just one movement, but frankly, they're just not. There's a lot of politics to the way that the different indigenous nations uh, are relating, and the way that they're developing their economies is very different economies and different cultures. And so, but then of course with one with one shared aspect of the fact that they are all marginalized in America, and and frankly, all being held on stolen land. And so it's no, I'm not going to say that next part. But anyways, one of the things that he mentions in his work is apartheid. Ah, I said it. Sorry, forget I said that word. Um, is pretendians. There are charlatans, basically, in the movement, in the public eye, who pretend to be of native ancestry and or pretend to represent the interests of indigenous people, and either are not indigenous, are not from indigenous ancestry, and or certainly do not represent indigenous culture and indigenous movements or the nations that they claim to, or tribes that they claim to. And I am very much convinced, I'm just going to say a thing here, that David Taylor, also known as Chief Mitiga, is among those people. I haven't said that bluntly. The more I look into it about what's happening with him, I don't know if you know about this, but apparently he was either threatened or felt threatened by the Mormon Church that he could get excommunicated for some of the claims he has been making, and for the fact that he claims to, and his group of people within Mormonism claim to be building the temple in Missouri where Christ will return to. I mean, if he didn't say that explicitly, he certainly has intimated that very thing, and that they're rebuilding basically an ancient Nephite temple. Basically, I'm not clear if that's supposed to be like the Zarahemla temple, what exactly he's trying to claim. I've only started to scratch the surface. Kulch and I have talked about this, and I talked about it recently on his program, that I started getting into the Discord, which I hate Discord. I really got to come around to embracing Discord because apparently people use it. I don't know. I don't have time or interest. But I joined the Discord for Zion Media, which is the YouTube channel that has been on again, off again, promoting Chief Mitiga, and besides, of course, his own YouTube channel. And it was downright shocking what's going on there. Basically, they're organizing a sovereign movement. If you don't know about this, there are people who claim that they are not American and they are not living in America. They live in their own country. Yeah, I don't get the whole Discord thing, but I'm doing it. I'm willing to do it. Basically, they have like all this paperwork you can fill out, organizations that you can pay and join up with. I don't know too much about it, so take this with a take that for what it's worth. I've just been looking into it from a surface level because there's just so much. They have other scriptures, new revelations. They have a whole document server of like new revelations. And thank you, sovereign citizens. That's right. But they basically claim that they are their own country. And right now, this Discord of Mormons are actively plotting the end of the world. I'm laughing to keep from crying right now. It is, they're talking about what they're going to do with infrastructure once the government collapses. They're talking about prophecies from the book of Daniel and from all these apocryphal works, and talking about, accurately predicting, who dreams that they're having. This is a thing. This is probably the scariest thing, is that all of this basically traces back to the same movement as Tom Harrison Lori and Chad Daybell, Tim Ballard, uh, you know, um, Jody Hildebrandt, Ruby Franke. All of this is the same movement of people who have had near death experiences and dreams about the end of the world. And they are actively organizing in various still disjointed little movements, it seems, uh, to plot to bring about the end of the world. And it is frightening, the apocalyptic Mormon movement right now. It's also somewhat amusing, terrifying, amusing at the same time. Hey guys, I'm gonna bail out of here. Go feed this family that I have. But I hope that you will join me. I'm hoping to get some more interviews for Church for Atheists this week. Besides my maybe groundbreaking interview with Dr. Troyer tomorrow. I am thinking we are planning possibly. I hope he doesn't mind my mentioning this, but Kulch and I are planning the possibility of maybe his being on the show, or maybe dual casting Kulch, maybe to Kulch's YouTube channel, and doing a deep dive on maybe some of the Cyan Media Chief Mythica stuff. So that could be fun. Natasha Helfer is still very, very busy. I have great respect for this person. I can't tell you guys how much, but she and I have been talking about going live and watching our interview for my podcast, for my documentary that never fully materialized, and talking back. That was back in the days when she was still a member of the church, still trying to maintain her membership in the Mormon Church, while also being, working as a therapist, and being quite candid with the fact that the Mormon Church's leadership should not be asking adolescents and teenagers, especially, about their development, their sexual development. And so it's like, and she was very candid with me in that interview. I've been thinking about reaching out also to another person I've mentioned in a couple Godless sermons ago. Her name is Nicole Prouse. Nicole Prouse. She is a UCLA-based neuroscientist who did the research that disproved hypersexuality or porn addiction, and using that, it now can be said out loud. I had interviewed her for this, and she told me about the outright persecution that prominent Mormons have engaged in, trying to discredit her, get her licensure, threaten her licensure, tried to get UCLA to retract her credentials, all kinds of things. Accused her of being funded by the adult entertainment industry, which is not true. All these other things. Even hacked into her Google, into her account, started rifling through her pictures, trying to find incriminating pictures from her photos, from her personal photos. I mean, it was like insane what these guys were engaged in. One of them, by the way, come to find out, I had messaged her after I did a debate on a radio program out here in Utah, or a debate, basically a shouting match with the state senator who crafted the bill that got porn listed as a public health crisis in Utah, and called him out directly and said, it's not true. This is, as an atheist and as an ex-Mormon, I have to call this out and say that you're lying. This is all pseudoscience. And that same guy and an associate of his that he mentioned in that radio broadcast, that it was a personal friend of his that he mentions, was this guy that Nicole Prouse mentioned to me, was the one she thinks hacked into her email and hacked into her account, trying basically. She said, I know for a pretty certain fact that somebody started downloading pictures of me in bikinis from when I was on vacation, and basically was using it to threaten to blackmail her. So anyways, So I've been thinking about reaching out to her and seeing if she's willing to let me just go ahead and release that interview on its own. But last year, she told me off camera about this, that what has now been revealed as of last year, that the original data that she used to disprove hypersexuality as a diagnosis was originally collected in Idaho, mainly among Mormon men who claimed that they had been diagnosed with hypersexuality or porn addiction, and that she, all that information, all the data that started that movement, that started her research, started with how a Mormon researcher, who, to best of my knowledge, is still a member of the church, uh, went in with the intention of proving that that the addiction is as real as, and has the same effect on the brain and nervous system as hard drugs like heroin or cocaine, and accidentally disproved it. And so, but couldn't publish his research because um, he was afraid of being excommunicated, or being or of his research being discredited by his university, or of some other ramifications that could befall him for the fact that he accidentally proved that all these claims being made by people like Tom Harrison, the guy who's behind this movement, Visions of Glory, Ruby Frankie, Jody Hildebrandt, Fight the New Drug, and all these groups, and Operation Underground Railroad. The guy who's behind all of that, all of the claims that he and others have been making in this Utah coalition against porn addiction, is they're all, it's all based on absolutely fraudulent science. It's an ascientific, anti-scientific movement. That's not to say that there aren't people with bad habits. I have bad habits. You probably have bad habits. Most of us have bad habits. It's not to say that people don't have bad habits. It's just to say that it is harmful to people who have addiction to call bad habits addiction. And it is harmful to the people who don't have addiction to tell them that they are basically addicted when what they have is a bad habit. Even new research has come out to show even some people who have addiction, if they can learn to treat it and think of it as a bad habit, can kick it easier without the by treating it without the stigma of addiction that has been generated around addiction. So it's an interesting thing. It's an interesting time. I'm glad that we have these linger longers where I can ramble for a while without it being recorded as part of the godless sermon, because you guys know that I like to do that. This is part of my ADHD brain. So I hope that you guys did enjoy Forgetting is Not Forgiving. I worked really hard on it, and I think that it could actually change the world. I think it really can. Oh, speaking of, if you guys didn't catch it, this last week, I had Megan Connor on Church for Atheists. And it was kind of last minute. We kind of threw it together on the topic of, can ritual heal ex-Mormons' inner children, our inner child? And I asked her at the end of that, and fast forward to the end. No, watch the whole thing. It's so good. Megan Connor is so smart. I like her. She can add a lot to our movement, I think. And she said, and I asked her at the end, though, is there anything else that we didn't have a chance to talk about? And she said, this is the same day, by the way, that I had that conversation with Kai Van Leuven. It was like, he was like, yeah, let's go live. He's in Hawaii. He like lives like near Rob Tobler, who I now know because of Corey, one of our followers, Corey, who did research onto this, that we are in fact, I can confirm, Rob Tobler and I are third cousins. That I asked Megan about this and about is there anything else you want to share? And she was talking about how impressed she was with last week's Godless Sermon, which was Godless Sermon 8, Overview Effect Can Heal the World. And she was talking about how she has a meditation similar to Overview Effect. We talked about for a while our mutual love, by the way, for Carl Sagan, and especially for Carl Sagan's recording of the Pale Blue Dot. And she was really impressed with that I use Pale Blue Dot basically for overview effect, for overview, which we are now institutionalizing as a sacrament of the Church of Korihor at korihor.org. And I've been working on developing an audio recording with music and one without music of me guiding listeners in through a guided meditation for overview effect that may actually help us to as a form of compassionate meditation, our own version of compassionate meditation, which Buddhists have their form, which is called metta or Tonglen. And I've been talking about we need our own. We need one for atheists. And so we're developing it. And she said, I wanted to share mine with you. And I said, I would love that. And I think it was all of maybe 5 minutes. And I mean, I was moved by this experience that Megan Connor shared with me. I mean, it really touched me. And she talks about how she lies back on her bed and places her hands over her heart, and then does this special meditation where she zooms out, and it was so good. You guys have to try it. I've told her a couple times since then. I said, Mika, we got to record this, and we got to make it a version of overview available to our people. Well, we'll talk about it. But we did a little dreaming. I love this idea. We did something I called Let's Dream Live. And I've been thinking we might do this more often, of just like, let's have a session where we dream about how Korohorism could grow. Like, what is the next stage? I think about this pretty much all day, every day. And there's so many amazing ideas I come up with and go, but we're a little tiny church. It doesn't have any money and doesn't have any followers really, except for a handful of us. We're a little ship of fools at this point. And it's like, I wish we could, but we're still little. But last week we kind of did this a little bit at Linger Longer last week, I think, or Godless. No, it was Godless Sermon last week, about how, can you imagine if one day we got somebody like Neil deGrasse Tyson to record us an overview? Can you imagine if we got Nicole Stott or one of these other astronauts who have experienced overview effect, looking down at planet Earth from space, and bring them in and say, hey, you don't have to join our church. You don't have to become ordained in our church. We just want you to record this experience and create something similar to evoke the same sense of interconnectedness, wonder, and compassion, and responsibility for our home planet and for our world, that evokes the same kind of experience as closely as you can to what it was like for you in outer space, so that we can begin a process of developing our nervous systems using our own form of meditation. And I think we can do it. I think it's probably a year or two away before we get to that point. But that's good, because that means we'll have some time to experiment and just do it amongst ourselves for a while and, get some feedback. That's why I'm so happy that I finally got the community side, which is called missions at korihor.org, where people can sign up as contributors. You don't have to join the church, but to join as a contributor does cost $2 a month, unless, of course, it's not affordable for you. Then just contact me and we'll work it out. And there's a way to backdoor people if they can't afford to join, but to join as contributors. But I'm just super excited to say, let's all try Overview and let's start collecting feedback. And it's a little bit loosey goosey right now. That's how we do things. We break things. But in the future, I hope to have it be very scientific. I If I can dream with you for a moment right now, then I'm going to get out of here. One of the things I've been thinking about is when we have the funding, I'd like to see us, and when we have some established, overview practices that people are getting benefit from, I'd like to see if we can work with some neuroscientists, maybe somebody who's working on their PhD and needs a project, to say, we'll put up the funding and we'll put up and the people and create the control group and everything, both the control group and the test group, and put up the funding for for peer review and finance a study to show what the effects of overview are, and maybe compare them and contrast them to loving kindness meditation or metta and Tonglen, and see if they achieve similar, scientifically proven similar results to that of other forms of compassion meditation, but from a completely atheistic lens. And so I think it could be so amazing. Again, this is probably not even a 2025 thing. This could be a 2026, 2027, maybe 2030 thing. But wouldn't it be amazing if we had 2, 3, 4 years of experimenting with this and data to show what people get from Overview? So I've been working on the first recording. I am looking to see if people are interested in recording their experience with it and see if they, what is good, what is bad, what could be improved upon, and see if we can report on it. I do have some updates to Rapture 2025. This last week, I did go out to Salt Lake City, and I did take coats, food, and more blankets than we have ever had up to Salt Lake and distribute them. It's become a little bit more dangerous, and I am being safe. Yeah. I'm going to have to report more fully on that next week. But yes, Rapture 2025, we are now up to about, I'll have to check my tally, I believe it's 70 blankets distributed that have been collected and distributed. And this week we'll be distributing the first blankets that are made from polar fleece that we ordered with the donations at korahor.org. And those donations are still open. We are still far, far behind our goal. And I will be placing another order here soon for both blankets and also for hand warmers, which are probably the most asked for thing out there. Again, anybody who is interested can contact us, use the contact form at korahor.org. If you don't want to give money, but instead want to send blankets, send gloves, beanies, or especially hand warmers. If you don't trust us to do it, I mean, it would be so much easier, guys, if people just give money. I mean, I hate to put it that way, but it's just plain. It's so much less shipping. It's so much less, and it's so much faster. It's so much more cost effective and so much better. It gives so much more flexibility to be able to just take money, place orders, do it all streamlined. But I get that not everybody likes the idea of giving an organization money. So if you want to give blankets, if you want to give gloves, beanies, hand warmers, or anything else, use the contact form and we'll get it there. Oh, by the way, yes, on korahor.org now, also right at the top of the website, there is now a link also to go to other missions. And I'm actually thinking about putting another link right there to go straight to Jules' mission. Jules, if you guys don't know, Jules Treasures here in the comment is Jules Del Sol, and she is an incredible member of the Church of Korihor. She is out there in Albuquerque, New Mexico, and she is handing out beanies and gloves to people out there in area code 505. She's doing amazing work. She's an incredible luminary. Also, the path to ordination for luminary, I've been trying to get that wrapped up so that more people can join up as luminaries and be ordained to our ministry. As you guys can tell, I've been busy. So, and she's waiting on more gloves now. If you want to give to Jules' mission in Albuquerque and don't want to donate, because you can now officially donate to there's a form there that you can fill out and you can donate to Jules' mission itself. I am also working on a Southern California one. We still do not currently have a luminary ordained out there, but we are going to start collecting funds, and if necessary, we'll ask friends of the Church of Korihor to handle things out there, to handle the distribution out there while the fires are going on. If worst come to worst, I'll just hop on a plane. I'll go do it myself. So this movement is happening, you guys. I'm so proud of all of you. Thanks for coming out too. Forgetting is not forgiving. Please, please, please share. In fact, before we go, can I belabor the point a little bit? Let me just share something with you. I want you guys to see this, how it's done. Okay. Share screen. Oh, hold on. Let me actually get there. My channel, our channel. Okay. Here we go. Share screen. Church of Korihor on YouTube. Okay, so this is our page on YouTube, right? Everybody see that okay? Okay, so this is, of course, how it looks on desktop. It's almost, if you click on shorts, you can watch all of our shorts. All of the hymns of the Church of Korihor get published in the shorts tab. There's one video that's a little longer than 3 minutes that is currently on the videos tab, because it's like 20 seconds longer, and that's like Korihor, which we opened up with on Godless Sermon today. But of course, all of our Church for Atheists videos are on here, either on the videos or on the live tab. And of course, all of our Godless Sermons and Linger Longers and everything else. But shorts is where I publish, little things like this. It's Autism Hair Day. I don't know if you got the memo. I'm not in charge of sending out the memos. So I had this dream. This is a funny one. This is a funny bit about true story. I met LeVar Burton in a dream the other night, and he was a dick. Okay, I am stopped and not moving. On my way up to Salt Lake City, I have some pizzas, some oven pizzas I bought. This admittedly is not one of my better ones. I was exhausted, and it was like 11 o'clock at night or something like that. It was like crazy, and I went out there. I don't want to scare anybody, but I may nearly have gotten arrested on Wednesday. It was freaky. Anyways, I'm just going to leave it at that. But anyways, but our new here we go. Our new song, the first song from the Heroes of the Resistance, is now available
Hidden
here.
Away. A young girl writes.
That's where you can go to enjoy first, book, and last whenever you like. I'm proud of this song. I think that it's really good. You'll notice that I took out all of the korihor.org branding and everything, because it's not about that. It's just about making this message available. And I really think that we have a responsibility to make sure that younger people especially know about the Holocaust. It has cost us as a society so much that young people don't know about the Holocaust. So if you go to the page, you can go to Shorts and you find this video. You can click on the share button, and then you can share to Facebook, WhatsApp, X, whatever. I almost always wind up sharing to Facebook. You just hit share, and it's super easy. Bada boom, bada bing. I like to hit the audience button there, switch it to public so that it's easy for people to share. It's so important that we not forget and Frank and the other heroes of the resistance. Okay? It's good to see how I've become really bad at typing in my old age. And then hit share. That's as easy as it is to share. If we all shared this video, did that not even show you guys that whole page? Okay, anyways, well, suffice it to say, that's as easy as it is to share the video. I'm going to create a campaign so that people can give. I'm going to ask $1 a month to help us reach 10 people every month. And with this video and the other videos, I'm planning to do one next week featuring Max Sievers and the amazing story of the German Freethinkers League, the atheists who stood up to resist Hitler. And so I'm planning to do that. And if people want to donate to the YouTube campaign so that we can reach more people, fantastic. But otherwise, if it takes 2 seconds, to just hit share and just share it to Facebook, share it on X, share it other places, and say, it is important to me individually that especially young people understand that the Holocaust happened and that there are people in this world who want you to forget. And we cannot afford to forget the Holocaust. And it will be my commitment for the rest of this year. We will publish more hymns every week about heroes of the resistance. And that's it. It's not a political statement. We cannot, as a people, morally forget the Holocaust or allow other people to convince us that it didn't happen. It happened, and it matters that it happened. Till Wednesday, my friends, flash bright.